What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with yet another album review. And since this weekend is pretty much very few albums that came out this weekend I was one to check out, so I'm actually going to talk about an album that came out last week that I was curious about, but I thought it was going to be coming out this week. So I'm going to be talking about the latest offering from Cosmic Putrefaction, Emerald Fires Atop the Farewell Mountains. This actually came out on October 4th on Profound Lore Records, and this is their fourth album overall. Well, it's a one-man band from Italy, and this is... I would probably say the best way to describe this is technical death metal, because it's got its toes in all sorts of different styles of death metal, like dissonant death metal, at times progressive death metal, cosmic death metal, even though that's not really a genre, but you get the point. It's just got its toes into all sorts of different styles of death metal, but namely, I would say the main bands I would compare this album to would be, Demolich, Cathelist, later Gorguts, a little bit of Morbid Angel, maybe even a little Blood Incantation, which is kind of relevant considering I'm still buzzing about that new Blood Incantation album, even though it's been over a week. But yeah, so I was kind of like, okay, this might be something unique, and well, it is unique, but let's figure out if it was unique enough to be like a high score. So we, excuse me. So we kick things off with Entering the Vortex Temporum Premortem Phosphines. So this one starts off with like nasty tremolos and blasts, and I gotta say, these tremolos and blast beats are absolutely fucking bonkers. Like, then again, this whole album is absolutely bonkers, but it starts off bonkerish, and some of the tremolos, this was really one of the only moments where I heard a little bit of like late 90s Morbid Angel influence on here, but again, tons of Demolich all throughout. It's almost like, again, Demolich, but with more blast beats and more just absolute technical chaos. And it's very dissonant, and there's a lot of atonal melodies, but I gotta say, like, a good chunk of the first half of the album does feature some awesome triplet chugs that definitely kind of make it feel like old school death metal in the sense of Morbid Angel with them triplet chugs. But I do like the proggy clean melodies that show up toward the end, as well as some more groove. But then again, most of the grooves, like I will say in the following track, I should greet the inexorable, or hang on. It's late, so I'm trying to soldier through this. I should greet the Inexorable Darkness. That track, as well as Hallways Engraved in Aether and Exiting the Vortex Temporum, The Clearing Path, those songs incorporate so much off-time groove that definitely gives it that more progressive songwriting flair to it, because when you have all these off-time grooves, it's like you're trying to wrap your head around what the fuck is going on. Can I even headbang to this? I'm just going to look like a bumbling idiot. It's like 5/8 time, and you're just like, okay, what is happening here? That's kind of the vibe I get on a lot of this album. It's kind of hard to get a hold of at times, but with this second track, you do get some cool angular riffs, tremolo melodies this time around. Like, they come out a little bit more melodic with the tremolos, but lots of dingy crawls, and there's so much in terms of crawling riffs, whether it be ascending or descending, to kind of give it a little bit of a cavernous vibe, similar to bands like Dead Congregation, Incantation, Disma, and Fester, like that side of death metal, whenever it gets into these like disturbing crawls that are going on, especially in the following track, Eudemist Withdrawal. Like, so much in terms of crawling riffs, it's absolutely absurd. But again, back to the Demolich comparisons, and it even gets into double time, which I always appreciate a good double time stomp, and I will say double time does start to become a more bigger trope as the album goes along. Like pretty much almost every song until we get to the following, or not the following, but the final couple of songs, you do get some really cool double time moments. Like in Hallways Engraved in Aether, that one has lots of stop and go blasts, but I love how it starts with the off time groove, but the tremolo riffs just kind of stay on top, and I think they're in time. I'm not entirely sure. They sound like they're in time while the groove is just going every which way but loose. Um, and then faint, clean vocals show up towards the end. Swirling Madness, Supernal Ordeal? Yeah, Supernal Ordeal. This one is really where the later Gore Guts elements come in, like Erosion of Sanity, Obscura from Wisdom to Hate, Colored Sands. Like, everything post Considered Dead kind of pops up a little bit on this track with some of these riffs, but this is really where it starts the second half, where it gets a little bit more towards progressive death metal, because you do get some like tasteful drums and acoustic guitars to kind of give it a little bit of a prog feel, and then even some like blood incantation tremolo melodies, but it also soothes the mood down with the drums and clean guitars and even progressive synth work at the very end. Then into Exiting the Vortex Temporum, the Clearing Path. This one, I love how it starts where you get like dissonant guitars and acoustic guitars kind of acting like as if you're making an emulsified mayo in a blender, where you're trying to take vinegar, oil, egg yolks, mustard, and garlic and stuff that shouldn't go together, but it works if you emulsify it together forcefully. This is kind of how the start of the Clearing Path is, with the acoustics and the dissonance coming together, almost like it's being emulsified. Some chants, more nasty crawling, absolutely whacked out riff arrangements, and then even some clean melodies at the very end to kind of add atmosphere, which leads us into the title track, which I would say was the best track on the album, because it starts off rather clean and tuneful with the clean guitars, acoustics, and they were dark, proper, tuneful, clean vocals and like jazzy feels, almost like Cynic, and it gets a little bit doomy before it just thrashes and blasts and tremolos your face off. And the dissonant parts that show up here remind me more of Mastodon and Gojira, so they're a little more tuneful and catchy. Which catchy is not something I would really describe this album. It's definitely an acquired taste. But triplet chugs with clean vocals on top, with an epic ending, great way to end the album. The production, the mix itself is nasty, like the guitars sound dingy, the bass is very prevalent, and of course the performances. It's technical beyond belief. What more can I say? My big complaint, though, is, like I said, I do feel this album's a little cluttered to kind of get a hold of, because it's just like going for so many different influences, and sometimes it doesn't work, but a lot of times it does work. So overall, I am going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. I thought this was pretty good, fun, nasty sounding technical death metal that just dips its toes into all sorts of different sounds. And perhaps I should go back and listen to the earlier stuff to kind of get more context. But of course, those are just my opinions. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thank you for watching. Keep your horns high and your dreams wet.
Thank you for your patronage.